Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles. Today we're going to be painting. I don't even have the original because I gave it to my daughter, but we're going to be painting a beach scene with some palm trees, and it's going to be very easy, and you should be able to follow along pretty quick. And I'm going to probably take the whole hour, but we'll see. But yeah, go ahead and grab some of your supplies if you want to paint along with me. I've already sketched it, so that I did in like less than 5 minutes. If you haven't sketched anything before, you might take your time to do it. But palm trees are kind of tricky, so we're going to see what we can accomplish today with this one. I'm going to try and drink a little tea because I got that little frog in my throat. But look at my cup. It says, dogs before coffee. Bless it. I always feed my puppies before I get my coffee. Because they are my babies. In fact, we may end up doing something someday where I paint my puppy. Puppies. I got 2. So, but we'll see what we're going to do today. Today we're doing these palm trees. I already have done that, and I'm not really sure which brushes I wanted to use. Let's see. I know I'm going to use a big moppy type brush for the sky with a flat edge. Could use this one. Either one of those will work. Then I'm going to probably use a rigger. I'm going to use probably this one, a round brush. Who knows, I might need those little skinny things. I might use this as well. Look at all these brushes I might use. Might use them all. But might be like, okay, we're gonna do them all today. Paint them all. Also, I'll probably show you at the end of the video some stuff I worked on Saturday that's mixed media. So if you're into mixed media stuff, you might want to stick around to the end. I'll show you some of the cool stuff I've been doing with watercolor and some alcohol inks and some other fun little papers that I had and things to glue together. Mixed media is so much fun. I enjoy it. It's just kind of a maybe it's a guilty pleasure to just do something like that and not really have a talent to do anything and just put it all together and slap it on there and see if it looks good. Just have fun making it, because really if you don't like it at the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper, right? All right, so this one I'm going to tackle first the sky. And I did bring my other paints because these ones on my palette are starting to get used up a little bit, and I'm going to see what I can do. Let's see, move that over there. Move that over there. Don't need all of these right there. So put that right there. So if I need to zoom in, let me see if I do have a zoom in. I can. It's very important to be able to zoom in on what we are doing. So we'll see what happens there. Oh, hey, Carol. Oh, you're new to my channel. Woohoo! And YouTube suggested to watch it. I am so grateful for that, because sometimes I don't know if anyone knows I'm online. If I'm going live or not. So it's kind of cool that you are here, Carol. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, just type it in the chat. I'll look over there once in a while to see if there's anything texted over there. Oh, also, if you're just joining, don't forget to like the video. Send me some hearts and the emojis and stuff. Leave a comment. All of that does help push this video out to other people so they can see it. But we are going to start with some clean water, which if you know me, I don't do a lot of clean water, but look at this crystalline, pure, clean water. So we're going to start that off. But have you all ever been on a trip where you've taken a ton of pictures and you really like it, and you wish that you had maybe a painting from your trip I know a lot of people buy a painting from like gift shops and stuff of um, their destination that they went. I, as a kid, went to Catalina Island and I bought a print of a painting of that big old casino on the jetty and the mountains and the palm trees and all that. It was just beautiful, a beautiful painting. Of course, I didn't buy an original, but I did buy that. I did buy a print of it, and it was on my wall for decades. Decades. Why? Because I loved going on the trip to Catalina, and it was a great, wonderful reminder of just being on vacation, relaxing, enjoying myself, a trip with my mom, and it was just fun. So that was a great reminder. I think paintings are a great way to bring to mind a memory. So for me, this is just a picture that someone, my daughter, sent me and said, "Would you paint it for me, Mom?" But I can do that with any of your paintings, like if you, or any of your photos. If you have a trip you went on, let's say you went to the Bahamas and you have a great picture that you want me to paint for you, I can do that as well. This is just one of those generic type paintings from the internet, and I just enjoyed painting it. So I'm going to paint it again for you guys. If you can see what I'm doing right here, let me see if I can bring some light overhead. Does that seem to be a little brighter? Might be. All right, so I wetted the whole sky and I'm getting some of this blue. And this may be cobalt blue, I think. And we're just gonna go right in and we're just gonna have some fun putting that into the wet paper that I already have on there. And put a little bit more in here. And I am going where these palm trees are a little bit, but not too much. And the cool thing about this is it's gonna look different every time I paint it. So I've already painted this once, but I'm gonna paint it again today. So many people were interested in this. I'm gonna turn it into a class probably in May or June. So this should be a class later if you want to paint it. Yes, you love painting from photos. That is great. I need reference photos, y'all. I need to look at something in order to paint it. There are so many people out there who can paint from their imagination or from memory, but for me, I gotta do it from a photo. So I have to look. I'll be looking at my phone a lot during this video and just kind of looking to see how I'm doing side by side, if it's looking good or if it's not. So I'm going to be looking at that. I'll be showing you some of the colors that I'm going to mix. So this has like a purple lavender and there is a little bit of yellow, but you don't want to mix your yellow and blue, so you're going to have to be very careful as you are painting this. You don't want to mix your yellow and blue. That makes green. So we'll have to be very careful as we're doing that, right? So what I'm going to show you next is mixing that lavender color. It is already kind of on here from before, but I did end up mixing some greens. So I'm using this kind of navy blue, dark bluish purple, and reddish pinkish purple. And I mix all three of those. Why? Because they just make something unique and not straight from the bottle, not straight from the tube. So we're just going to do a little bit of that. Just see how little it is. It's just a little bit. And we're going to put some right here. Hopefully this is still wet. I am using Arch paper, which is supposed to make it stay really wet for a longer period of time. Now I'm doing just pure from that one because I want to do this kind of quick. And this can go up into that blue because it'll look pretty. But you see it's already spreading out a little bit. That's what you want. You want it to kind of bleed out towards the top of your paper. And you know what's cool is I used to tape these things down and put them on a clipboard, but if you don't tape it down, you can actually do this. Do I live stream often? Yes, every Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, I think I am, or Central Time. I always forget which one I am. But if you are in Alabama, I am in Alabama time. So, but yeah, I like going live on Mondays at 10 a.m. It seems to be a good time for me. I am very busy. I got a class later today at noon. I had to go and buy a kit for one of the students this morning already. And then I bought some, Party City's going out of business, and I bought some racks from them for my arts and crafts booths that I do during the fall and winter. I do some arts and craft shows to just get my name out there and locally just kind of, sell my stuff, sell my art. And I am going to be doing a show this spring in Robertsdale, Alabama. So if you are local, you can come see me. What I'm doing with this is I'm just kind of removing some of the paint just to get a little bit of a cloud look to it. And, I could probably overdo this and be making it look too cartoony, but I've already kind of painted it where I want the clouds to be. Like I didn't paint where I wanted clouds to be. And that's kind of how you do it, is you just try to avoid. But if you painted the whole thing blue, you could dab out the clouds. So that's another way to do it with some paper towel. All right, so now we're going to do this green area down here because this part is still wet. So we do not want to paint the ocean. The blue would go up into that sky, and we wouldn't have that nice little horizon line. So what I want to do is switch brushes now. So I'm going to switch to this one, which I don't know why everything rubs off. Like I cannot tell you what size these things are because everything rubs off. So I'm going to design some brushes when I get a little more famous. I'm going to get some brushes and I'm going to have them engraved with the number so you know this is like a 14, a 12, a 6, whatever. Because I know a lot of people are like, what size is that? I'm like, I don't know. It's this size. And I hold it up to my fingers. Like, see, it's that size. So, but this one is a little bigger. I think it is a 14 or a 12. I don't know. It's pretty big. It's pretty big. So down here we got this. I'm just going to wet it again. And just kind of go around where that little beach area is. And it'll be just kind of wet down here on the bottom. Now, I like to mix just Payne's gray and red together, and that makes a nice color for me. I love that color. I'm using some of this that's already in here, which has a lot of yellow in it. So we're just going to do that. We're going to start with the lightest green first and just kind of fill in. I like filling the whole thing in. You don't have to be too exact when you do this, okay? Just fill the whole thing in. So I've got that kind of going. I am avoiding the trunks, but it's not necessary. You can always lift with something. Carol says, I'm in Mountain Time and it's 9:12 a.m. So I'm probably Central. Yeah. Oh, you're in Alberta, Canada. Wow, is it? Didn't you guys just have like negative 40 degrees there? I was like watching the news and I thought, how do people survive in negative 40? Because I can barely survive in 15 degrees. 30 degrees. I don't like cold. I like hot. That's why I like palm trees and beaches. I like all that. Ooh, let me show you guys what's kind of happening to my painting while we're sitting here. This is doing a bloom, which means this is really wet and this is dry. So what it's doing is kind of creeping up, but just a little bit, but it's making a hard edge. So a lot of people do not like that. They do not like that. What I don't like is when you want it to be a bloom and you can't get it. And then when you want it to be not a bloom, you get it. So that's kind of Murphy's Law. That makes what you don't want happen, right? And what you want happen doesn't happen. So we're just going to dab a little bit of water just to help it not look so harsh right there. It'll look great. I like painting where it looks like it's painted, not like a photograph. And, usually my paintings look like a photograph from far away, but then when you get up close, they're like lots of splatters and little blooms where you can't generate that with photography. So she said, yes, it's been cold, but we have a nice Chinook happening right now. Is that like a spring weather, Chinook? That would be awesome. I think we've had some spring-like weather here in Alabama, so it's kind of fun. And I enjoy the warmth of spring and then all the flowers blooming. We had a bunch of daffodils bloom on Valentine's Day, so I ended up cutting those and putting them in a vase. All right, we're going to add some of this darker sap green in here. I could zoom in. Let me see if I can zoom in for y'all so you can see a little up close. I'm just going to do this. And see how I'm just dabbing that in there a little bit. But now I want to make a darker green. So what I'm going to do is I have some already in here, but I'm going to add a little red. Red just kind of darkens your green. So if you're trying to make a darker green, guess what? Just add a little bit of red. If you're trying to make a darker orange, you could add a little blue. If you want to make a darker yellow, you can add a little purple. So the opposite on the scale, on the color wheel. So I'm just kind of making this look really, it's already super wet and separating. I added water over here and now it looks like this crazy bloom right there, which I didn't really want. So my brush must have been just super wet. Let's see what happens. Sometimes people think watercolors is hard because you can't correct things, but you really can. You can erase the whole thing if you want. Wash it underwater. If you have nice paper. Sometimes people don't have that super nice paper, which is Arch paper. I do encourage students to just buy something less expensive when they're starting, just because you don't want to have people be like, I don't want to paint because that paper is, $2 or $3 each. I'm trying to remember how much the paper is. Arch paper, I can get it at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby for what's $20 when it's on sale, I think. But I bought the paper that is the brand name, or it's like a generic brand, and I bought that for $10, so it's half the price. Carol saying, yes, a nice warm spell. It's 0 degrees Celsius right now, but we'll be warming up this afternoon. Okay, so it's kind of freezing, but we'll warm up. I think that's what 0 is. 32 degrees here would be freezing. I think 0 is there. I can't get used to doing the Celsius. We're on a different system. Now I'm putting a couple little blobs of Payne's Gray in here, and just kind of adding some depth in there. Because if you see, I end up splattering. Can you see that? Splattering some paint in there. But we're not going to splatter just yet. And I always have paper towel, like always. You got to have a whole roll nearby because I go through it. Let me just tell you. Going through it a lot. So I'm almost seeing another line right there. I do not like that. And it must have been because my paper dried up here and then this was really wet. But like I said, sometimes we're doing something again and we get different results. And you just got to go with the flow is what I always say. All right, so these little palm trees are needing a little lift in just because I want those to be kind of a yellow color at the end. So I'm just lifting with the tip of my brush. And if you don't have, you can use a smaller size brush, but always this is how I do it. I rinse, I dry, so that's a clean brush. Then I run it along the edge of this and I dry it off on here. Then I gotta clean it again, dry it again, and repeat until I've completely lifted that up. So that's how I do that. Now we're gonna think about possibly drying this with a heat tool because I get too impatient waiting. So if you don't have one of these, let me show you guys if you can see this. This one's from Stampin' Up. It's a stamp company, rubber stamp, and that's what I've been doing for 17 plus years as a Stampin' Up demonstrator. I do have thousands of stamps and I use them in my mixed media. I use them all over my art pieces. But for watercolor, you can stamp and you can watercolor it in if you use StazOn ink. But this tool is just called a heat tool. You can get them anywhere. And they're very versatile for watercolor. Some people use a hair dryer. I like this. So that's my favorite. So that should be good enough. Let me see. All right, now we're gonna, excuse me, we're gonna do the ocean. And I like using this same brush. I use this brush for everything. It's a very cheap set. I just bought a whole set of them for a student for today. And I think it's like $5 for a whole bunch of them. You get like 5 brushes. So what is that, $1 a brush? It's very cheap. And these I've been using for over 3 years. And they have not, the bristles are still great. I love them. I think it's called Minta, Royal and Lanky. But you got to definitely look for the, I like this turquoise handle is the watercolor, I think. All right, so now we're going to go and mix a blue because we're doing the ocean. And I may mix my blues. Sometimes I just mix them like this. Like I just go all 3 of these right here and get them on my brush. So it's all in my brush. And I'm just going to go in. Now the thing about painting these ocean scenes, so the paper's dry and my brush has got the paint. And you can run it. See how it skips some things because of the texture of the paper. Now I want to be careful because that's going to be the top of my wave right there and then under there. So you want to keep some white areas when you're painting ocean. And you want to keep a lot of white towards the beach. Sometimes I forget and I'm like, oh, I just painted the whole thing blue. But there's also a trick for that I can show you at the end of this video or at the end of this painting. And you'll be able to see my trick for if you forget to leave white. And some people mask stuff like that. I don't like masking. I think that the masking fluid takes too long to dry, takes too long to peel up, takes too long. And like I've said, I'm very impatient. Don't like to wait. And you can't use a heat gun on your masking fluid, I don't think. Doesn't it bubble up? People have mentioned that. I don't know enough about it because I don't like using it. But I do know a lot of people do use it. So there, look at that. Isn't that pretty? So far, so good, right? So we're going to get a little bit of water now. And what I like to do is put a little bit of that darker blue in some areas. So we're adding a little dimension by adding that darker blue. And every time I paint, the ocean, I get a little different look. So it's kind of cool to see what's going to happen. I'm almost as surprised by it as y'all will be. Because it's just kind of fun to play. I like playing. Because really, why do we create? Why do we have art? Why do we do it? It's probably because we enjoy it. For me, anyways, I enjoy it. That's why I keep doing the watercolor, because I really enjoy it, and it's actually a pretty fast medium to use. So I enjoy that part of it, that it's quick. I also like doing Bible art journaling, and so I put this kind of watercolor stuff into my Bible, which is also really fun. I'm going to add a little bit of purple into this shallow area, I think. If I can, make some more. And look at how that's bleeding into that blue. Isn't that so pretty? I love watching it kind of do that. A little bit right there. And it just kind of spreads. I like that. I like watching that. So that's supposedly reflection of the sky, and just kind of creating areas. I don't know, it sounded like something was crawling, but I don't think any of my creatures are in here. And so now I might add a little bit of that turquoisey green in here. Make that a little darker up there. See what happens. You just mix it up, right? And create what we want. And it's already looking pretty good. Yeah, I could tell that looks kind of like waves to me already, and it's not even done. So I rinse that out pretty good. Dab it on my paper towel. I keep paper towel in my hand, on the table, everywhere. But now I want to go back to looking at this grass in the foreground and bushes. So we can do some more of this Payne's gray color. And I like Payne's gray. You can even get crazy and put some turquoise blue in there. You can get super crazy, get some of this burnt sienna, put some of that in there. I like how that looks with the blue. And you can really get creative with this. You don't have to stick to normal colors. You can get really kind of fun with it. I'm going to put some more of this yellowish green back up in here. And then just kind of blend that all in. So those colors are going to melt together and do some fun stuff. I kind of like how that looks. Thank you, Carol. It's looking great. Awesome. I know, because it's like live. I have a friend. Well, I guess we're like internet friends. We're like YouTube friends. But I go and follow her channel, Liz Chatterton. And she's amazing. I love watching her videos. Her comment to me about going live, because I said, you should go live. And she goes, oh, what if something happens during the live? Like, you don't have the control over your outcome, I guess, of the video. And I'm kind of like, yeah, That's kind of what happens sometimes to me. I don't have much control when I'm going live, but that's okay. Noticing my green is going up into my, uh, going up into there, but it's okay. It's okay. We're just gonna let it do it. Let it do its thing, right? Um, what about working on these palm trees maybe? We could start doing that. I did not add any yellow up into the sky yet, so I could do some of that. Let's see what kind of yellow I have here. I have 2 yellows and this one. So I have 3 different yellows right here. Sometimes I test it on some scratch paper to see what happens. I think there's supposed to be some yellow there, maybe a little bit up here and right there. Now that's crazy right there. Let me show you what I'm doing. Transition so you can see up close. So I just put some 3 blobs of yellow. Now I'm just going to rinse my brush with total clean water and we're going to spread that out. And look what happens when you spread it out with some clean water. It just looks nice, right? I gotta be careful. There's some green trying to show up. We don't want that green. So just putting a little bit of that yellow in there. It's very faint. So it's almost like, was it, did you really need that yellow? I think it'll show up nice once it dries. It'll be nice. So next I'm going to go back to switching brushes. I'm going to switch to a smaller size brush and get that nice and wet. And I'm going to mix up a little bit of turquoisey type blue with a little bit of green. So I'm going to add that in right under where I think some waves are. I'm going to make those smaller waves. So I'm already sculpting them out a little bit. I don't know if you can see that with the up close. I think you can see it. So I'm just adding this turquoise, right? And you can add some more up there. You can add some down here. And just kind of keep reminding yourself that you don't want stripes of waves all equidistant. You want a little variation because that makes it interesting. Same with like trees. You don't want trees to look like fence posts going along a street unless that's like, it's a English garden that you're painting that obviously does have some very regimented spacing for their trees and whatnot. But for me, it adds a lot more interest when they're spaced randomly. And so I'm just continuing adding stuff in, making my waves look a little bit more defined and adding that darker. This is what I did when I painted it the first time. I just kept adding in a segment at a time and creating these white areas, but making them really look unique. There we go. I think that's looking okay. So yeah, those are my waves just kind of crashing on the shore. Yeah, it is good to see the oopsies, right? And you love going live. Do you have a channel, Carol? I'd love to come follow you. And yeah, the oopsies, man. Let me just tell you about these. Sometimes I have a lot of oopsies. Let's see, what should we paint next? Probably need to do a little bit of the heat tool. Sorry about the noise. I know it's kind of loud. Oh, you should go watch my my live video of the tiger, and it was hilarious because I was painting that, and at one point the tiger had 3 eyes, and I was kind of like, wait, which one is the eye? I had painted 3 eyes in that one, and that was live, so it's up there. You can see it whenever. But yeah, going live, I don't have to edit any videos. It is what it is, right? And I do enjoy having my videos up there and showing the whole reality of it. I also hope that I'm encouraging people to just start painting. You don't have to be perfect to paint. You can just start, and you don't have to have all the supplies I do. You just start and with what you have. In fact, I've replaced a lot of these colors with professional paint because I used it up, and I was like, well, it's time to start using professional paint, right? So what I did is just bought a tube of paint and squeezed it into there, and it dries, and then you can re-wet it and use it just like you would when you buy the original one of this. But this was my daughter's paint, and I had to um, practice, and so I was like, let me try using this, and look at it, it's falling apart. But you know what? You don't need fancy stuff. You don't need fancy stuff to paint. You can paint with just probably Crayola. I've had my daughter on my channel before, and we've painted together, and I just let her use some Crayola watercolors. I was like, here, use this one. I'm drinking a little bit because my voice does kind of go every once in a while. All right, I'm going to do the palm trees next. So we all need to pray that these turn out okay. Because sometimes palm trees don't like me. I have a story where I was trying to paint a palm tree. Oh, you have a collection of paints too. Yes, I have all kinds of different paints. But I like this palette. It's very versatile, and the lid has got nice size wells to mix a bunch of paint. In fact, right now I'm trying to get a nice light green, because this is what we're going to paint first, is this light green up in the tops of these trees, okay? And so you notice I did not wet the paper first, okay? We're just going in, and it might still be a little bit damp, but that's okay. We're just going to paint the tops of those little trees. We're going to see what happens painting it over here on this purple. It may end up not being such a great idea, but I didn't mask them, and I didn't spend a lot of time going around those, so they're going to be what they are. So now I'm going to take this same light green, and I'm going to add some blues in there to make it more darker green. And I know a lot of people have been taught that black darkens and white lightens, but I try to avoid black, and I try to avoid white. Sometimes I use acrylic white paint at the end, or a gel pen at the end. So Carol says, as much as I love painting, I love the hobby of collecting the supplies. Oh my gosh, yes. I wish I could just afford to go and do whatever, buy the whole store. But my daughter, it's so funny. One day she's like, hey mom, do you have any spray paint? And I'm like, yeah, what color? And she's like, well, I think I need black spray paint. And I said, let me check. And I looked, and out of the probably 10 cans of spray paint I have, I did have black. And so it's kind of funny. I'm like a little mini Michaels in my own craft room. Like you probably can see behind me. Let me see. Look behind me. I have cabinets back there. I have punches. I have the whole wall is almost punches. I have a lot of ink pads. Down in the bottom, I have dies. I have paper cutters, more ink. I have styrofoam shapes that I like to do stuff with, I guess. I have like little pots that are like, for Easter, I was going to make some kind of thing to sell. I don't know. And so I bought a bunch. And you don't even want to look in my closet. I have so much over there. But like also behind me, I have tons of designer series paper right in there. So designer paper is like all pretty colors and shapes and images on it. And I started to use it for mixed media. I just tear it and glue it and then paint on it. It could be there could be worse habits. Yes, you're right, Carol. We could have some kind of, that's detrimental. This habit makes me happy. Some habits could make me, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we could definitely have worse habits, I think. All right, so I'm looking at my little palm trees here, and the shape is okay right now. And it's nowhere near being done, right? And we've got 20 minutes, right? So let me see if I can just zoom in a little bit more for y'all so you can see if I'm doing okay. So I keep adding, and now look, I added a little Payne's Gray in there. Into, let me just scooch it. Scooch. So I added a little Payne's Gray in that. So it darkened it. And now I'm going to add it to the bottom of these tree fronds. Fronds? They are little fronds. So I'm adding a little bit at a time because that's still wet and it's spreading. So we are just kind of following along to what I've done already and just kind of going like that. Oh, so Carol, do you do watercolor or what's your channel all about? That would be fun to go see what you have. So I'm gonna mix some of that darker yellow, I think. Can you see what I'm mixing? It's hard to show the whole screen.
I'm going to work.
All right, have fun at work. Yes, have fun. Say hi to everyone. I'm gonna come see you later.
We close at 6.
6, okay. It's the last day, y'all. It's the last day for my baby to work because she is, well, let me see. I'll zoom back out. But she works at Party City and they're closing. So it's like the last day they're going to be open today. But right now I wanted to show you this darker yellow. And I'm still not thrilled with that color. But I want to add a little bit of burnt sienna. And now I love that color. Look at that. That's great. That's exactly what I wanted for these kind of stems that are going up into the tree. And I just love it when my kiddos come in and say hi when I'm doing my video. I think it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. They're both very artistic as well, but they don't want to do art for a living, which I'm surprised. Like, when I was their age, I wanted to pursue art, but then everyone discouraged me and said, no, you can't make a living. And so then I was very sad because I loved art. Since I was 5 years old, I said, I want to be an artist. And, but no, parents, everybody said, you can't make a living at it. And I thought to myself when I was working on being an artist, I guess, was that maybe I was thinking to be successful as an artist, I had to be like a Picasso or, Van Gogh, someone in a gallery. And I'll be honest with you, you do not have to be that level of successful to be making a living as an artist. You can be someone who teaches classes. You can be someone who sells to your local local people. Like when I do an art show at a arts and craft show, local arts and craft show. I just find people and they like my art and we get together and I paint them stuff and they like it. They pay me. It's awesome. So you don't have to worry about, if it's um, gonna hang in a gallery someday. Just if it makes someone happy, do it. You know. What did you say? Oh, yes, you do watercolor, leather work, mixed media, awesome. Fiber arts, stitching, bookmaking, and tons more. I'm gonna totally binge watch your videos because all of that is interesting to me. I love that. And yes, I did art at a very young age too. My mom was an artsy person in stitching too. So my mom wasn't artsy. I don't know. Maybe she could have been, but she just wasn't. And I think that um, maybe that's why she wasn't thinking, it's a real career. Um, it's hard to know what the thought process was. Um, so right now I'm just putting that Payne's Gray in there on one side just to make it look kind of interesting. Because see how it's spreading? I like that. I like it a lot. And I think I do have a couple little brown ones coming off the end here. But I need more paper towels. Paper towels! So, I don't know. I was thinking I'd be either a lawyer or um, I didn't really like that when I started studying in college to be a lawyer. I was kind of like, maybe this is not for me. So then I started some other stuff, English, because I really like books and stuff. And I thought, well, maybe I can write a book. I don't know what I was thinking. There were so many things going through my brain when I was young. And so I don't know how we can really tell a kid, hey, you need to pick your career. Because there's so many. I changed majors like 3 times. So, but I did finally pick studio art. I was like, I love art. I cannot stop doing art. And this is what I want to do for my life. And so I picked art. But then, you graduate. And what happens after graduation? You can't find a job being an artist. So, and even if you've been kind of shown how to do art and you can create it, like no one teaches you how to market yourself. And that's like they should make that part of it when you go to college is marketing yourself because that's so important, to be able to share your art with people, you got to be able to market yourself. So Carol says, I used to have another channel. I deleted it and now I start all over, uploading some of my older videos in between doing new and lives. I've been streaming for about 12 years. Streaming for 12 years. Well, I've been on YouTube, I don't know how long. But I started off, there's some of my daughter when she was just a kid helping me put together Stampin' Up! Stamps. Like there's a video of her doing that and making cookies with the Stampin' Up! Cookie stamp. So those were fun. I enjoyed those. Not really so much of me doing much. I think I did a couple of card making ones. I've done Bible art journaling videos. So I have different playlists if you want to look at those, but definitely watercolor is my jam. I think I found where I just have started to enjoy doing this like the most. So I'm gonna stick with it. But I do like doing the mixed media. And like I said, at the end of this video, I will show you some of the mixed media I did on Saturday, just kind of playing at my art studio. I was thinking about starting to broadcast or whatever, stream from my studio, because then there won't be barking dogs, there won't be husbands or kids or anyone interrupting me. But then it won't be as fun because you won't be able to see my babies or my honey. Sometimes he comes in, he'll poke his little head in here and say, hey. And I'll be like, hey. So it's kind of fun. Kind of fun to have these people around. I don't know. This is not going to turn out as good, I don't think, as my original, the first one I did. I'll have to try doing it again when I'm not live. But it's pretty good. It's not too bad, y'all. It's not too bad. It's pretty good. But I am going to add some more green. I wish I could just squeeze out some more green because I'm almost out. Look at that. It's almost out. Can you see what I'm doing? Super none left. But I'll just add a little bit in there. That's a little bit too green. I add some Payne's Gray into there. And that's too wet. And we'll dab some of that out because it's too wet. And dry it. Add some of that green maybe. I don't know. We'll just get kind of crazy. You can watch me get kind of crazy. And you guys will know what it's like to just kind of paint freely. And it's kind of fun. And I add some more yellow in there. But yeah, these palm trees. Oh, I was gonna tell you my story about my palm tree that I was painting. It was just horrid, and it was like, what is that? It looked like a firecracker. It did not look like, or firework. It did not look like anything that was a palm tree. It didn't look good. And I'm looking at that. That does not look good. So let me add some more in here. We need more palm tree in there. And so maybe dab that out and then add a little bit of yellow. So you can mix colors right on the paper, y'all. You don't have to mix it in your wells. You can mix it on the paper. But yeah, that first palm tree I ever did was horrible. It looked like a firecracker. And so you know what I ended up doing, which helped me learn a lot, was just took some paper towel and I dabbed it all off with a wet paper towel. I just kept wetting it until it was completely gone, like erased. And so I always say, a lot of times we think that this medium is unforgiving, but it's really, you can go in there, you can redo it. You can do something totally different than what you started with. I'm adding this darker Payne's Gray because I really think this needs more contrast. To me, it was not doing much contrasting. So I'm just doing that. And I like that. That looks kind of loose and pretty. I'm going to add a little bit down on the bottom of these trees. And maybe they're the shadows. I don't know. Just kind of add some water. So now I'm going to focus on that bottom part. See the bottom? Right in there. So I want to get some of that nice juicy Payne's Gray in there and make that dark. Get a little bit of the green in there. And maybe a little bit of this blue. And a little bit of this burnt umber, burnt sienna, whatever color that is. I never remember what colors are in there. So I'm just adding that. If you want to splatter stuff, what you have to do, guys, if you're going to splatter paint, you need to get enough on your brush. See how I'm doing that now with the yellow? And you can even do that with greens and your Payne's Gray. You can vary your size brush too, because if you don't vary the brush size, then it could be all the same kind of size splatter. And look at all these. See, I'm just going to lift those up. I don't know if you saw me lift them up, but if I don't like them, I just get rid of them. They're gone. They're gone. But I can do this and add a couple more water, just some clean water in there. Like I said, this one may not look as good as the other one I did, but that's okay. They're not supposed to be cookie cutter paintings. They're unique in their own little way, right? Oh, I like that. I think it looks good. It's okay to like your stuff. Carol says, yep, I have a husky who likes to talk. Oh, yes. And she is YouTube famous? Okay, that's awesome. We'll have to check out your husky. What's her name? One of my big dogs is Reese. My daughter named her Reese after a character in a book. And so she liked that name. My other one is just Little Bit because he's so little. He just likes he just looks like a little tiny little bit. All right, I'm mixing some color for the beach, and it's kind of like a beige colored beach, yellowish beige. I'm gonna just kind of go very lightly in there, preserving some of that white for the waves. Okay, just preserving a little bit of that white. And if you are one who likes masking, you could have masked these trees and then you wouldn't have to be so careful. But I'm not masking and I have to be careful. But not too careful. I think I can still get away with being rather loose with it. But now it's looking like a beach. Now it's looking like someplace real. Like, it all starts off and it's not really, it's just a white canvas, basically white piece of paper, and you start adding shapes, and the shapes create the image. And I think it's so cool to turn a flat surface into like a 3D looking thing. Loca, that's a cute name. Loca, that would be cute. I'm going to lift out some right here, and I'll just show you up close what I'm doing. So I'm lifting. See how it's sucking up that paint into my brush? And I can rinse my brush and dry it again. And just very quickly lift. That gives that highlight in there. Same over here. Just lift and dry it. So I like how I can do that. It's still kind of going in. Now arch paper will do that. It'll stay very wet for a long time. But I think for now, that's what we're going to leave. Leave it like that. I think it's good enough. Let me see. We'll show you guys the finished product right there. I think it's looking pretty good. I did a little bit of splatter. I did do some of the lifting and leaves and stuff like that. So I think it's looking pretty much finished. I'll probably look at it again tomorrow morning and say, oh, it needs a little touch up here and there. Oh, thank you for saying it's beautiful. And thank you for saying it was a great live. But let me show you guys, and I'll go to this camera. So these things are my little mixed media. So I ended up just cutting up some watercolor paper into different sizes. So this is one that has a hymnal, and it has some blue watercolor and some Payne's Gray. So it's not really too many different things. This one has some paint as well as watercolor. So mixing the white ink, acrylic ink, and putting that on there. So that's kind of cool. I liked how that almost reminded me of like an oceany color. And this one is mostly watercolor, but I did use some spray gold on a mask with the rays to kind of get those rays. And this one was also a mask. I haven't finished it. I just thought that would make a great background. And I can't wait to go look at Carol's stuff. And this, I just kind of pressed it on the table when I spilled some paint. There you go. It made this cute little design. Almost reminds me of coral. And so I did it again. And I think it did pretty much the same thing. This was just having fun. I don't even know which way it goes. And just have fun. That's what it's all about, having fun. So I did paint this and then added some pen to trace around things. So that's always fun. This one I used some stamping. It says, "You are my anchor." I was thinking, the scripture for that. This one I've been doing some scripture on. but I really liked the very subtle color changes on this. I thought they were really cool. And this one's is Psalm 62:1, and it says, I wait quietly before God, for my victory comes from him. That is so true, y'all. Trusting in the Lord. He is the one who makes it all happen. Look at this one. This one, I really liked how this one turned out. I just think it's unique and pretty on its own. I may not even add to that. I bought these really cool little gold frames that I could stick this in. So I think that's the right size. I'd have to go back and look. I also just really liked all the colors on this one. They're just so pretty. Like, I love that Payne's gray, turquoise, yellow, and burnt sienna. All three of those colors just look so pretty together. This one, I did some white paint. I don't even know which way I might put this. It's going to be a background for something. I don't know what yet. So it's just like a blank palette to start doing stuff with. But I masked off and did the shape in the background with the blue and turquoise. And then I added white acrylic paint with a palette knife. And that was just fun. Just super fun. Oh, thanks, Carol. Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl. Thanks for the wonderful tips and effects. I love it. Oh, awesome. I'm so grateful you guys are here. And then this is another one I did. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. I mean, I just enjoyed doing it, but it's so pretty. And also this one. So what's really in style is having large mats. Like the mats are really wide and a small painting in the center. So these would make great artwork for that. That would be like if I mat this with like a 4 or 5 inch mat all the way around it with a gold frame, that I think would sell great. And the fact that it has some scripture. I love scripture. I'm all about the Lord, and he has helped me, y'all, so much. I've been trying to control things myself, and he reminds me that he's in control, not me. So I just got to keep trusting in him. And what my biggest prayer is to learn my lesson quickly so I don't have to keep struggling. Because isn't that the truth? We're all struggling in our trials because God's trying to teach us something. And the main lesson is always to trust in him. And I think that when we try and do things ourselves, we kind of get in a sense of, if I can't fix this, then I'm doomed. And I see that in young kids. I've seen it in myself. Like, if I can't fix something, then it's all for naught, and just throw it all away, right? It's not gonna work out. So, but you know what? When you start praying about things and you start believing that God's got a plan and he's gonna work it out, that's when the miracles happen. That's where I've seen major miracles happen in my life. So, like, it doesn't matter if it's a diagnosis of your health is not well, or finances aren't well, or you have a wayward child, or you have a marriage falling apart. I mean, you can go back and see some of my videos about divorce. I went through a bad divorce. Not a bad divorce. We are actually still friends. But divorce is horrible when you're married and you've shared your life with someone and then it's just ripped in half. That's a horrible thing. And so that's when I really came to know the Lord, and I put my trust in him and started reading my Bible. So the main thing was reading my Bible. And I think I've done some videos where I do a little flip through of my Bible. I think y'all have seen some of my pages. I just did this one for Valentine's Day, and I like doing some stamping and mixed media stuff in my Bible. That's always fun. But like watercolor is great. I love watercolor in my Bible. So, that's what I think got me through my divorce, was reading this and trusting in God. Because if I hadn't, I would probably, I don't know, would have been really depressed. And I know depression is one of those things that can be a chemical thing, but it can also be circumstances too. So if you're going through hard times, just You can reach out to me, definitely. You can go to my website and text me, or leave a comment on something and I will see it, or leave a comment here. I read all of my comments, so I can go back and say hey to someone who saw my video. So if you're looking for maybe some advice or some encouragement, you can always reach out to me, and I'll be there for y'all. So, and I just want you to know, I do pray for each and every one of you. I pray for my subscribers. I pray for the people who come and watch my videos. And I just love you guys, and I appreciate you so much. And I do hope that you have a blessed day. Mwah.